Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, guys. How's it going? So, I already said this before the end of the last stream, but today I'm going to be watching all of the ACL today. Um, so there's no solo queue. I'll probably go back to solo queue tomorrow, if anything, or after tomorrow, the latest. I didn't get to watch ACL, and I've already explained this numerous times, but I tried watching it live with you guys, or for those of you that were here, and the intermissions were just way too long. I couldn't like they had technical issues and the intermissions were too long, and I didn't want to spend my entire evening waiting for them to get their shit together. And that's just me being frank. Like, I obviously understand, it's spur of the moment, problems happen, takes time to resolve them, but I value my time and I didn't want to just sit around doing nothing. And then when I look at the VOD, this is day one. They went on for They were 9 minutes short of 14 hours. 14. And if I were to put things into perspective, I want to say 1/3 of that VOD is actual gameplay. So, yeah, I don't know what was going on. I didn't stick around to subject myself to that freaking ACL waiting room. So at least I can watch it on my own time. And yes, it's not as exciting because you don't get to see things happen live. But at the same time, I'm able to watch the games and enjoy them for what they are. I did watch um, the North America March finals yesterday. Honestly, I think there was like two series that were like relatively close, and the other ones were just um, bumps. Quite frankly, I find it disappointing that I still see ECS players drafting like absolute garbage. Um, and it's not like they're bad players. It's just more so their strategies are just so fundamentally flawed, and then they allow themselves to be put in positions where they should have never been. They should have never been in that position to begin with. Like the game starts from the draft, and if you're drafting poorly, whether it's because you're allowing so many meta things to go onto the enemy team, you're just choosing stuff that is just objectively not great. Like, don't be surprised when you get into the game, you face people of equal skill level or better players. Like, because obviously, in terms of the competition, like skill level wise, it's relatively close overall. There are some teams that are like a step or two above the rest, but generally speaking, in terms of skill, they're pretty close. But the thing is, it's just like, let's say for example, you draft five lane attack like five attackers, okay? This is just strictly hypothetical. Let's say you draft five attackers against a team that's like more meta, more balanced, etc. Yeah, you might be equal in terms of skill, but in terms of team composition, you're gonna have a hard time. And that's what I was seeing a lot of when I was watching the March finals yesterday. And then I also have the VOD open just to kind of compare to the international tournament. Keep in mind, this is the second biggest tournament of the year. Like, prior to Worlds, which will be later this year, there's not going to be a bigger tournament than the one that was held this past weekend. Um, I believe it's probably going to be the most competitive as well, like overall, because it is international, so you have teams from all over, um, mainly Asia, and of course one North America team. We also got a sneak preview of the Chinese team that were. I'm pretty sure they probably thought they were going to do better, but they got absolutely stomped. So for me, it's not very surprising, but for them, oops, for them, I'm sure it's probably an eye opener. But it is like, to be fair though, guys, it's like I said this before. They only got the game earlier or late last year, and on top of that, they're
Yeah,
not even playing the
pretty
same game.
much.
I mean, we did anyways. Why not go down with the fight?
Twice in a
Yo,
row,
Shogun, how's it going, man?
actually.
Uh,
And to be fair, like the first one was because like they just didn't coordinate at all.
It's between you and Tim.
Like that Espeon
Jacob.
just kept going and scoring. It was just
Ah.
like
Okay, so I'm not gonna waste any more time. We have a long stream ahead of us, just because I'm planning on watching everything today. I don't want to break it up into 2 days because then it takes a little too long. So I'm gonna watch day one, starting from the second set, just because I did watch the first game or first series live, so I'm not gonna watch it again. It was pretty interesting because they did. I did predict they were gonna pick Phalanx, and they actually picked it in the very first game. That was pretty interesting. Then yeah. So actually, you know what? Before I even start, I'm gonna play an ad really quickly. That way, it doesn't interrupt this match, and then we'll get it started. So let's. That. Want to make sure I have all the tabs open. Day one, that is North America, so I can push that to the far side. That is day two. That is at well. Don't need. We're pretty much good to. I'll just wait for the ads to finish playing, and then I'll start. I gotta do. How's your Monday so far, Chen? A little started off slow. Like I haven't been awake that long, but I was talking with my aunt. She's abroad right now, back in the home country, Ecuador. She's just getting ready to come back to Canada. So we're kind of just figuring out like who's going to the airport and all that stuff later when she comes back. Problem is just that her flight is going to come back at a ridiculously early time. Um, so like we're trying to figure out like who go and whatnot and like help with the luggages. But yeah, I mean it's interesting to hear what's going on back in the motherland. I it's the initial plan or like the one of the plans that was suggested was me go back to Ecuador myself and like escort her back to Canada, but it's too dangerous to go. Like legit, Ecuador was a yeah, I mean it still is like a nice place, but they're going through like a very difficult time with the government and like the I don't want to say cartel, but like the gangs and whatnot. So like unless you absolutely have to, I would not recommend going over there. Too dangerous. Okay, so I can start off. So let's start playing now.
Alter Ego, Fennel, we're getting into it right here.
Alter Ego, your purple team.
Ready, go. We're gonna work that out. Yeah, we'll get there. We will find our way. Serena getting banned out here. Leafeon, not surprising. They're not letting it go through. Fennel, right now we're gonna have the second and third picks. Psyduck going right away for Alter Ego. Suicune not available for this tournament, but it would be either picked or banned every game for sure.
This is the first time we've seen Talonflame unbanned. I wonder if we're going to see it, was what I was going to say.
Okay, starting off right here. Pretty standard stuff overall. The only thing that's actually a little bit uncommon is the Serena ban. As far as I remember, when I watched the March finals for North America yesterday, I think Serena was probably played once. So to me, this kind of tells me indirectly that this is a target ban more than anything else. Although this is the second series of the tournament as well, like I don't know if Serena's meta over here, at least in the Asia regions, but I'm assuming that's more of a target ban more than anything else. Psyduck first pick, pretty standard. Like Psyduck is extremely strong right now. Slowbro and the Talonflame. I mean, not much to be said there.
Also, the first time that we're seeing that.
Actually, there is one thing to say. If you look at the bans right now, there's so many there's so many things that are not banned, speedster wise. That's actually pretty interesting. That they prioritize Talonflame over everything else. Like they could have picked Absol, they could have picked Meowscarada, they banned Leafeon. You have the choice like Zoroark, Zera, Meowscarada, Gengar, Absol. Like you have so many options here. So it's pretty interesting to see that Talonflame was the one that was picked out of all of them. Mainly because like if you look at North America, for example, they prioritize a lot of Zera, they prioritize a lot of Absol. And I feel like Talonflame, it's like kind of the reverse side of the coin where it's not that they don't value Talonflame, but I feel like when it comes to speedsters that are available, like if everything's on the table, they prioritize Zera and Absol more. So it is a little interesting over here. Was good. Does Chan play any fighting games like Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection? I played Street Fighter, Defense Deoxys. I played Street Fighter, Street Fighter 4, 5. I didn't get into 6. I did play Marvel vs. Capcom as well. Mortal Kombat X. Yeah.
So 3 Pokemon we actually haven't seen yet. That's the first.
How's it going,
one.
Sly Storm? Welcome to the stream.
Maybe 4 keeps threatening this Galarian Rapidash.
I know.
Wow, maybe playing with the crowd a little bit. Ice is going to lock in that Umbreon. So, Toronto with a very uncharacteristic slow break.
Okay, so we got the Absol and the Umbreon pick. Honestly, these are
Honestly, yeah.
pretty just
I
meta
think
teams
you see
overall.
Umbreon, you cheer.
I agree. Ooh, they only hovering it for a moment ago, but they did hover the Clefable for a minute, which was a Pokemon picked into the Japan ACL final
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah, Clefable got a lot.
Okay, so we got the Mewtwo Y and the Eldegoss. Now, the Mewtwo Y is something that I hear, at least even before this tournament started, I heard through the grapevine that Mewtwo Y is a highly contested pick in the Asia regions. Specifically, they go the special attack build rather than attack speed. And it also depends on whether or not they're going the support attacker and running the Expedia on it. I've noticed that it's starting to be played a lot more frequently in North America as well. They're going the special attack build rather than, muscle rapid fire scarf and spoon build. I think that's kind of fallen out of favor just because of the nerfs over the progression of time. They go with the Eldegoss. And the thing is like, I personally don't think Eldegoss is that strong. However, it's one of the few supports that are available that actually offers flat sustain rather than like traditional utility. Support Mewtwo has become a pretty common thing. They throw it in the bot lane, they put Expedia, and they go teleport Psy Strike. And they go like special attack build as well. Just for like the flat damage. But yeah, I honestly think Eldegoss has fallen out of favor. Blissey and Hoopa, and Psyduck are in a category of their own, and then everything else is like a tier below. There is Comfy. However, like I actually think Comfy goes up in value because of the speedster meta. I think Comfy synergizes extremely well with pretty much all the speedsters that are relatively strong right now. That is particularly why I actually like the Pokemon. However, if we were talking about like a few patches ago, I think Comfy kind of sucks. But yeah, nowadays I actually think Comfy's pretty solid overall. It synergizes well with like Zoroark, Absol, Zera, Talonflame, pretty much like all the speedsters that are actually meta now. I'm surprised like more people aren't playing it, but maybe they think it's a little too risky because you're kind of funneling into that kill mentality, I guess, or like just that pick mentality.
Look forward to that. Instead, it will be the Eldegoss locked in for you, man.
That's really interesting. This is Eldegoss here. I feel like this would be. It's not bad. I had to make sure it wasn't bad. I think this would be a great Hoopa comp.
It looks like a
Yeah.
Hoopa comp,
Yeah.
right?
So it's pretty surprising. We're seeing really seriously a lot of Pokemon that we didn't see in the last set at all. We're about to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6 new Pokemon with the Espeon, which hey, you did say we're probably going to see it today. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan of the Espeon pick here.
I think we saw a lot of those, especially in the West, specifically.
No.
He's playing with our hearts.
They're not gonna do it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm personally not a fan of the Espeon pick, personally, just because, like, before the Blaziken's locked in, you pretty much see everything on the enemy team. The main damage dealers up until this point are Talonflame and Mewtwo. Obviously, Slowbro's the front line, Eldegoss is going to be support. The thing is just like in the early game, you'll be fine. But then as the game as the game progresses, you're gonna fall off in terms of scaling. Not to mention, by that stage of the game, you need to play very cautiously against like a speedster, and of course you get outranged by Mewtwo most of the time unless their positioning is just god awful. Now they lock in Blaziken, of course, because that's the last pick, and it's very easy for Blaziken to get on top of you, and on top of that, it just has better mobility as well. Not to mention, like, Espeon is technically a ranged Pokemon, like it is an attacker, but at the same time, it's fairly short-ranged unless you're going Psyshock and playing very, very far back, and you're just trying to go for, like a casting-oriented playstyle. I think... I'm trying to think of what they could have... hold on. I have very bad memory. I kind of forgot what is... I just forget what's available. Factors. Like, you don't have many options just because, like... I think a Miraidon would have been better. Miraidon definitely would have been better. Like, even something like a Pikachu for, like, some CC lockdown on like, the Mewtwo or the Talonflame. I'm personally not a fan of the like Ninetales, maybe maybe you could have gone like the Aurora Veil build, so like when talent like for the damage mitigation as well as the C. Obviously I would have maybe picked Inteleon, but that's banned. Mew's kind of fallen off as an attacker role, so that's a lot of people don't play anymore. Everything else is kind of just like whatever. Like Mewtwo wise already picked, Rhydon, and everything else is just kind of like it's fallen out of favor. Like you're not like Cinderace is just terrible, Cramorant terrible, Decidueye. It's not that it's bad. It's early game is horrible, early game horrible, horrible, early game horrible. Not a good laner. Horrible. So like, you don't have many options. It's like people need to kind of like adapt and start to be able to play more things other than just what they're already comfortable on. Besides, some of these Pokemon have been out for so long that at this point, there's really no excuse for you not to play these Pokemon.
That Blaziken is just so brutal on the side of Fennel. I remember the...
Okay, so we can just fast forward to the game starts, because quite frankly, we already saw the draft.
We only have like 22 more games over the weekend to try it. Well, not games, time stream.
Before Don, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Good afternoon. Love for money. Good afternoon. Welcome to the stream. How's it going, Mac?
So Serrata's going to be like a top path brawler, like pseudo.
Okay, so it is a support Mewtwo.
That's a good answer.
So that's
I like that response.
Do you remember back when Buzzwole was like every
obnoxious.
game was like the meta choice? The Scaldbro was like one of the interesting picks that people were choosing against it. Still lost a lot, but you know, if we look at the past and we say today, it's not as broken, so that's good thought.
Yeah, there we go. Kind of wild to see Alter Ego getting away with a side-up pick. Yeah. In a tournament this important. Like,
oh, so this is a little interesting as well. So if you look up to the top lane, it is an Eldegoss support, but it is a special attack Slowbro. I saw part of this game initially, and I didn't have a problem with the special attack Slowbro, just because they have two melee attack, like, they have three sources of DPS, or three sources of damage, which is Espeon, the Absol, and the Buzzwole, and two of them are melee, and one of them is fairly short range to begin with. I didn't have a problem with the pick, but if I remember correctly from part of this game, I don't think it was the Slowbro that was necessarily the problem. I think it was just the way that they were trying to execute their
good thought.
like their strategy.
Kind of wild to see Alter Ego getting away with a side-up pick.
Like,
in a tournament this important, like, oh,
it came down to like micromanaging themselves, like poor positioning, that sort of thing. But I'll watch the rest of the game. Pretty sure I caught the first game and then I go.
We know where Absol's moving right now, and it is walking top. They're waiting long enough to where if they decide to follow it, it won't be seen. But they know where Absol is, and there's the Scald, so it's exactly what we were thinking.
I like that cheeky play that you built that speed berries on the way up. Make sure that the enemy central area is behind you. It's gonna be a bit of a slower trip. Buzzwole gonna yoink Serrano once, but that skull is gonna slow down that Buzzwole damage a ton.
Wow.
Boy.
Look at that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
we just talked about that.
there's a
That
couple
was
of things here that kind of like
so it's
that are
exactly
good and bad. So obviously, picking up a kill on the enemy jungler in a 3 versus 2 and you're the 2 is obviously really good. That is one thing. That being said, like something like this happening is just bad positioning on the Slowbro's part. They're way too far forward for a level 4 Slowbro, and you can literally see 3 people in front of you. Like they're just not respecting the enemy. It's honestly like kind of lucky that they were able to pick up a kill, but like it's stuff like this that makes me question like what exactly they're doing. Like yeah, I know they want to contest the Altaria, but keep in mind like at this point you already see 3 people, including the jungler. Like you're so far forward, and on top of that, you allow yourself to get caught out. But then they pick up a kill in the 3v2 regardless, so it's still better than nothing. And of course, you're getting the kill on the enemy jungler. But then the problem is here, like the Slowbro kills the jungler, then the Slowbro gets killed by the Buzzwole, which is not good because they're already gonna struggle in this early game lane against the Buzzwole Psyduck because you have 2 really strong laners. And on top of that, you're allowing the Buzzwole to scale exponentially faster than it needs to, just because,
Look at that. I mean, we just talked about
you know, you're getting the, I don't want to say comeback experience, but you're getting the surplus of experience from the enemy jungler, but then you're also giving it away to the opposing laner.
Already doing what it's trying to do. There's so many fights in the center area from all of these teams so far. Like, obviously, we're actually about to get the spawn for the 8 minutes, spawns, but like they've been fighting at like 8:40, and just in center area, or like when there's just no objectives there, because everybody rotates so much on these teams, and they just catch each other.
Yeah, they're going bot first, and really just kind of having ultra engages, and then immediately rotating back top, and that's
something like this right here is like.
Yeah, they're going bot first, and really just kind of having ultra engages and then immediately rotating.
Like this right here, it's like it is well executed because obviously Alter Ego are not revealing themselves until the Blaze or the Combuskin puts themselves in a position to actually get caught out. Like I don't want to say they're overextending because technically they're still in their goal. However, they're choosing bad fights because realistically, I think they kind of like, they're trying to get some chip damage on the Umbreon, but it really doesn't do that much for them. Like fighting the Umbreon at full HP and there's no farm, there's no nothing here. Like, especially when you don't have a lot of map vision on, like, vision of the enemy team on the map, you kind of have to force yourself to play a little bit more reserved. But it is a good play from Alter Ego to get picked off, or pick off the Combuskin.
We did it.
What was that? Fly?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Fly aerial ace, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually now even maybe double confused why they didn't choose Hoopa. I think that would be a great pick as well, but this is starting to look a little bit rough. Yeah, they realized, they were like, oh.
This to me is just like so sloppy. Like I don't even know what's going on here. So after the Combustion gets caught out in the bottom lane, everyone from Fennel decides to rotate top lane to try to make a play of their own. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they knew the Buzzwole's there because Slowbro's scalding into the bush. They just didn't actually land it. Obviously, Buzzwole comes out of the bush. They know that they're there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Fly aerial ace, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually now even maybe double confused why they didn't choose Hoopa. I think that would be.
So off screen, the Talonflame flied, like, used their fly and ejected onto the Espeon, so they get a kill off screen. And then up here, there's still like, I don't even know why Mewtwo's so far forward. Like after they sideswiped here, they should have just left. But then, of course, Buzzwole grabbed them, and then they trade 1 for 1.
Look a little bit rough. Yeah, they realized, they're like, oh, that thing where you just run towards the enemy team. You're like, I'm gonna like move you away from my teammates because I know that I'm gone at this point.
And I confused the boosted on with aerial ace. I think just flame charge fly.
Okay. They do look all similar. A lot of the like, I'm diving.
Yes. Yeah, a weird one to call. Who's winning really? Because Fennel's had like the bigger moments in a couple of these, but Alter Ego with that bottom tier push and all those scores, I mean, they really have the edge. It's gonna come down to these first objectives to really define though where this early game is actually going to be in the hands of. Regirock spawn in bottom, and as always, Reggie lucky in the top.
Bingby's got level 9 right now.
Yeah. Tone just ticked over though.
Yeah, indeed. Here comes Talon. They have to watch out for this. Nice big Unite move coming in. Into the fly, picks up the KO, lands on Psyduck with it, so the reset's going to come for it pretty soon. They're going to have it just a hair late.
Nice.
Yeah. Overheat on cooldown there because he was kind of trying to back up Ton there with that team fight. Maybe if they retreated north, they would get hit by that overheat, but not having it to try to outsmite that bottom objective is a really tough spot to be.
Well, I mean, credit to Alter Ego because they had the cooldowns understood because Fly was down and Overheat was.
Okay, so like there's a couple things here that just.
With that bottom tier push and all those scores, I mean, they really
Okay,
have the edge.
so you're going for first objective. Obviously, you got three people here on the bomb lane. Talonflame's going to rotate, so you're going to have a 4v4 essentially. The problem is Talonflame is trying to get their level 9, so they're delaying their rotation. They got their level 9. Like here though, like guys, like I don't know how this happens in competitive matches. You know your jungler's not here. Like you should not be putting yourself in a position where you're allowing yourselves to fight or get engaged. Like you should not be initiating a fight when you're down a member and you know it, or you should not be putting yourselves in a position where you are allowing yourselves to get engaged on, especially against an Absol with Unite move at this stage of the game, because Absol is just going to tear you to shreds. Like, at this point, like you're a piece of paper to an Absol.
Bingby's got level 9 right now.
So obviously, Mewtwo got stunned by the Psyduck, and then there's like then they got hit by the Pursuit. They basically got one shot, and then Psycho Cut falls. Absol just absolutely like gutted them.
And as always,
Wait,
scores. Yeah, a weird one to call. Who's winning early?
yeah, they didn't even have Unite move. They just got one shot crit.
Here comes Talon.
As always, Reggie lucky in the top.
Bingby's got level 9 right now.
Yeah.
Psychic, crit, auto attack, Psycho Cut.
Here comes Talon.
They kill 2. Talonflame pops their Unite move, try to salvage the situation, gets a kill, 3 for 2. I don't know what this overheat is from Blaziken. Like that is just so, like you're literally hitting nothing.
On Psyduck with it, so the reset's gonna come for it pretty soon.
Then obviously you don't have the overheat for the kill attempt, so you just lose that objective. So you trade 2 kills for 1 and you lose the objective. Obviously Alter Ego come out swinging and they just
Not having it to try to outsmite that.
propel themselves further ahead in the game.
Well, I mean, credit to Alter Ego because they had the cooldowns understood because Fly was down and Overheat was down. They went in and ended up being an Absol auto attack that took it.
Yeah.
And they needed to move in that fast because when you land Fly on an opponent, you reduce the cooldown considerably. So they
Yeah, I don't know what it is with this Mewtwo that's just
as we saw how
they're
quickly
constantly
he
getting
back
caught out by
into the air.
Buzzwole.
So yeah, I think that was really
I
smart.
think that's
very
like the
heads-up play there.
3rd
That's
time this
Rodrigo
game.
ready to move in, playing
Yeah,
around.
they got caught out and it resulted in the
Heading
death.
up to the top path right here. This Reggie like he's going to be free for that.
Fennel's got a great defensive composition, though. That's what Slowbro's going to be huge for. Pushing this into this goal zone is going to be a challenge if Fennel wants to defend it. And so far, looking great, but a great hit by the Buzzwole.
Wow, wow.
Okay.
Hey, great defensive
Yeah,
comp,
yeah.
guys.
Way to go
And then
by
here they just got
9-4.
They're not
absolutely
gonna be able
rolled.
to get in through this. There's no way.
Absol's getting their Unite energy back, and I think they're stacking as well.
Stack up your attack lane, you can charge
Probably could have
your
scored
Unite
more,
move.
but
so many
it's
different
fine.
things that you get for putting extra points into that goal zone right there, and of course a huge overcap. 181-0 right now. I talked a little bit earlier about how Fennel just didn't look like the same as the world champ Fennel when I was watching them, qualify here in ACL early in this game, but it does feel like Alter Ego's got their number so far.
Well, shout out to 9-4. You said this Buzzwole can really snatch the collars of some of these speedsters. Tone got caught out of pocket. They get put down, which leveraged an immediate Unite mood on Yume by the Buzzwole, and that front line that Zoinks said could actually hold it down just with a great play through 9-4. Kind of flipped the script and kind of sent Fennel scrambling. Very well done.
All right, here's the problem that I have, and like I might as well just like show this. So when you're in a position like this, you have basically you have 2 options here. Your option number 1 is you play for the top lane. Like this is option 1. Like so instead of just giving up, like instead of contesting this bottom objective in a situation where you know that you're somewhat far behind, like a little far behind, not a lot, but like slightly. You you can just give up the bottom objective and you can funnel top lane and kind of compensate for this point differential. Obviously, we know that they haven't scored a single point this game. It's 181-0. So instead of contesting bottom, they can go top lane. As a group of 5, you know, do the math and get as many points as you possibly can, and potentially also score on the tier 2, depending on how quick they are. The option number 2 that they have is take this fight down in the bottom lane. Now, if you have a team composition, and if you have Unite moves, and of course if you have the positioning as well, you can definitely do option number 2. Like, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's just all about execution. Now, the thing I have a problem with in this specific situation is the fact that literally these people are not in position. Like, they're not ready to really contest this objective. Like, Mewtwo's up here. Like, Mewtwo's up here. Talonflame is rotating, so technically you're going to have a 5 versus 4. And yeah, Buzzwole is late, but at the same time, it's not like Fennel are probably going to... Well, I mean, we'll see. I don't even remember what happens here. But it's not like they're going to full-on try to flip this objective, especially when they're not in a position to do so. They don't have the DPS. Like, you have a Blaziken, Slowbro, and Talonflame. Like, they're more burst and secure rather than they are consistent damage to leash the objective. Especially, you're not going to do that as well when you know everyone else is on the enemy team they're actually here. So you're putting yourself in a weird position because Mewtwo is going to be slow to the rotation if they even do decide to show up. So as of right now, it's basically a soon-to-be 5v4, which is why I don't like when people like tunnel for the objective, but they're not putting themselves in an ideal position to actually contest that objective.
Yeah, it's a good portion of these brawl compositions. You want to separate the teams as much as you can. You don't have a great dive to immediately.
Yeah, like what is this? Like, this doesn't make any.
Instead, they're playing it more of a front
Wow.
It's like
right now.
Like, this makes absolutely no sense to me. And this is like, guys, you have to keep in mind, this is the team that won the World Championships last year. Like, I don't understand how these players don't understand the basic concepts of picking and choosing the right situations. Like, there's literally no excuse. Like, if they play like this, I question, like, how they even won Worlds to begin with. Like, this is, like, literally, like, noob tier mistake. So, they're contesting the objective with 3 people, while person number 1 and 2 over here are not even bothering to go to the objective. If this was the case, they might as well go top lane and pressure this top tier goal and, you know, mitigate and score some points so the gap isn't as big as it is right now. Like, it genuinely just makes no sense to me. Also, there's something wrong with my whiteboard.